and it's a pleasure being with you here today. Maybe I will offer less of a lecture also for the topic, but more a little bit of reflections, as you said, that we're working together for a long time. Reflections specifically on from a UN perspective and from a perspective of someone working, I would say, 20 years on and with decentralized cooperation, seeing some of the huge potential as well as difficulties. So a little bit in these practical terms, but let me first read what we have here. The first slide, multi-stakeholder partnerships, one of the buzzwords that we have in the international system, solid structured horizontal relationships in which all parties bring together knowledge and resources. That's true. I mean, solid structures, horizontal, all partners bring together knowledge and resources, but in order to or let me go to the second one, aim for mutual benefit, seeking synergies among them and approaching the territory from an integral, multidimensional lens. This is hugely packed already. I mean, that's the ideal scenario, and I can heavily subscribe this, but in order to really have mutual benefit, you need to know your partner. That's the first point, so you really need to know, then you need to be able to understand how the partners that are very different, as we heard just beforehand, civil society, universities, United Nations, UN organizations, local governments, local government associations, all work very differently. The organizational structure, the needs for reporting, how you're organized, it's all extremely different. So my point is you need longer time horizons when engaging in really, when you want to make cooperation work, but definitely also decentralized cooperation, because you need to get to know your partners. You need to know and to find out how you can really establish these kind of structured horizontal relationships. Just a point to make, with Sarah together already kind of 7-8 years ago with UCLG, we started in the DCF at that point in time, Development Cooperation Forum, to really put decentralized cooperation on the forefront. Only today there is a new process that started by the Executive Office of the Secretary General that looks into the relationship of local and regional governments with the overall UN system. Of course, this is bigger than decentralized cooperation, but decentralized cooperation is a part of it and recognized. But it's not done yet. I mean, it's still local and regional governments are made in the major group. The window of opportunity is there, but these processes take time. So we are talking 8 years back till today. Another very important thing is that trust needs to be built, because I mean it's difficult sometimes within their own house, within their own family, or within the family of the UN, that the different agencies to trust each other. But in order to trust a decentralized local government that is doing development and the UN entity, which are very different animals, or even a university. So trust needs to be built, a common engagement in the processes, as we are trying, as we are having here different agencies, but it takes time again. And let me point out another process where UCLG is also leading with Enroll there. And I think it's a very key and very important process. It's the Global Partnership on Effective Development Cooperation, because this is exactly this international process, again, starting already as a common cooperation between the UN system, UNDP in that case, and UCLG 10 years back in Busan. But today, having this local dimension, today led by UCLG and Enroll, that we are saying we need to have systems, local systems, that really integrate the different ways of cooperation in order to promote the SDGs at local level. So this time factor and the system factor, I think is a very critical issue. If we are not investing in this, it won't work. But that needs to be invested from decentralized cooperation partners, as well as the United Nations system or other development partners. On the multi-stakeholder partnerships, of course, I mean, this is the ideal scenario, but I'm happy to walk you through also. I mean, to reinforce strategies, absolutely. Again, much better than if these strategies are the strategies of the territory in situ, what we're talking about, of the people as well as the civil society. And there comes the huge strengths of decentralized cooperation in, because decentralized cooperation actors normally don't differentiate. I mean, there are some, but normally don't differentiate between implementing the SDGs within their own territories, with their own institutions, with that knowledge in doing it at home, and seeing what it means to work together with university in our proper territory in order to advance the agenda, and then bringing this knowledge and these systems out to partners, exchange about it, and help them doing the same thing. So this closeness, not only to people, but this closeness to its own territory and to the challenges that a territory is facing, and their leadership, local and regional governments are facing together with the private sector and the civil society, is really key to reinforce and to inform strategies that other territories have. Because professional development cooperation outfits, as we are, for example, as UNDP or many others, or development cooperation at the national, at the state level, is professionalized. So you always have experts talking about it. But there is a certain distance. I mean, we need experts. I don't think we don't need them, but it's a very different quality if we're talking about decentralized cooperation. Also, I think it's a very important point. Exactly this knowledge and expertise is not an artificial knowledge, but it's the knowledge of really applying it within my own territory. These unique contributions of local stakeholders, I think that's what I was just referring to, and unlock the development potential of territories in their communities. I mean, this is now something, it can be done with isolated projects, and it will never be done with isolated projects. I'm not saying they have no right to exist, and I do know that many partners in different countries, for example, conceptualize decentralized cooperation still as twinning. I do think twinning has its right to exist and so on, but I think if you want to unlock the development potential of territories and their communities, we need to have all the different actors working together without a predominant position of the UN or the national government or even the local government, really working together to see how the different potentials can be activated. Specifically, for example, if we're talking about recovering in times of the pandemic, we need the private sector on board. We need the PMEs, the small and medium enterprises. We need their creativity, their innovation, but only together with the other actors. Enhance the capacity of local and regional governments, of course, extremely important, but even more effective, again, if we can talk about systems that would put the different actors that are engaged in capacity building together, that there would be a coordinated and harmonized system of capacity building in a territory where decentralized cooperation could play a key role. That is also part, for example, of the Global Partnership for Effective Development Cooperation 2.6 at the local level that we try to achieve. And the last point is a very good one, of course, promote the development of relations between territories. I think these relations go far beyond just development cooperation, but they do then talk about partnership, they do talk about the mutual understanding, about diplomacy between territories, which has been very strong and where UCLG had a strong role in the past. Can we go to the last slide, please? The practical tips. I mean, I think I referred to a lot of practical things already. Actively enroll with organized fora, which I've mentioned, and list the support of a university and research office. That's referring to its own territory, absolutely. But you can have different types of engaging with the universities. You know, you can engage with them that they simply give you, for example, an overview of where academically you want to go on the SDGs, or you engage them as actors within their own territories that are promoting with the others the development of the territory. So it gets a different flavor, it gets a different role, but it is very interesting. We have in 3 weeks' time, for example, a session with in Andalusia with all 15 universities of Andalusia, discussing with then other universities of the territories how universities engage in that. So a very interesting part. Partnering with business, we have expressed that's key. Be clear about what you expect. I think that maybe with that one, I'm going to stop. Be clear about what you expect. I mean, I do think it's really very important. As UNDP, for example, we have engaged in a new process on local governance that has the deep listening process. So it's it's very important to be clear about what you expect, but it's even more important to be clear what is needed, what are the expectations of the partners we engage in, because we don't want to have cooperation as well as decentralized cooperation designed within our own homes and our own offices, and then exported. And well, I know that many of the partners already are not doing this anymore, but as we, as United Nations, sometimes need to recalibrate our systems and say, look, we need to listen more carefully. We need to see what is really the expectations of our partners where we work. I do think that's also an important element for everyone to consider of the decentralized cooperation partners. Sarah, I think I am in time. I will leave it there. And yes, also congratulations from my side. It's the 4th module already. I hope there will be many more to come. Thank you.
We might. We are thinking about one more, but end of the year. Thank you so much, Johannes. This was very interesting. And I think for all, a big applause. The 3 speakers did amazing job. Thank you also for using the guides, and actually also Martino amplifying, I think, your contributions. If you allow, we will use it more. Rolling out the module, it was very clear.